Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast.
And here's your host, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. Lots to talk about this week. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Lots to talk about.
Got craziness happening in Cincinnati. A wild East Coast road trip for the Angels.
Uninspired play by the Dodgers.
Yeah, something like that. It was okay. Homestand for the Dodgers. And we have all-star news. So let's get to that. All right, so the all-star rosters have been selected. The voting's done by everybody. And now it's just a matter of going to play the game. There are some roster changes that may happen. Players that are injured or for some other reason aren't going to be able to come and play. And we're starting to see some shape taking form for the home run derby, which is generally the players kind of wait and see who's been, did I get selected to the All-Star game? Because if not, maybe I don't want to go anyway, things like that. So we got the starting lineup set. Now we have the reserves and the pitchers that have been selected through player votes. We don't know who's starting yet as of recording time. We both have our selection of the pitchers that probably should start. Whether it happens that way or not, we'll see. But so let's start with that. Let's go down the list of reserves.
So for the American League, we'll start with American League. Starts with A.
All right. So it looks like those basic hooked on phonics and that other program you're on is working out nicely.
It is. All right, Yordan Alvarez of Astros, Xander Bogaerts, Jose Ramirez, Jose Trevino, Luis Arraez, Andres Jimenez of Cleveland, George Springer, Byron Buxton, Andrew Benintendi, Kyle Tucker, your favorite, and Julio Rodriguez. And then Miguel Cabrera, Miggy, was selected by the commissioner's office as a special selection.
What is it? The all-star legend or something like that? I don't know. I don't think they had a special name for it.
Yeah. So he gets a spot in there. And then if we, and you know what, let's look at the reserves, because is there anybody in there or who isn't in there? Because I've heard a lot of Ty France. Seattle's upset he's not there. Fans are upset. And he has even said, I think I belong there, but he's not there.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. He was high up in the voting.
Yeah, it was Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Ty France. Those were the top two when it went to phase two. And of course, Vladdy Jr. won that. And then I would have thought he would have been in the reserves, but he's not.
Yeah, that's kind of strange. So at that point, you wonder, should they have picked these legends? Miguel Cabrera took his spot.
Yeah, I guess that would be a good argument there, that he maybe took his spot. I mean, now there's always a possibility that he could come in depending on what's going on. Because you can't pick everybody. Not everybody can be on the all-star team.
No, but if you've got like 6 Yankees, including pitchers, show up on this team. There's 4 asterisks on the team. Maybe Kyle Tucker doesn't need to be an all-star. Ty France does.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. And the other thing is that Ty France had been injured and having those issues, did that play in the player's mind? Oh, well, he's out anyway. He's probably not going to play, so we don't worry about him. Or is it he's in Seattle, and it just seems like Seattle kind of gets kind of a forgotten place sometimes. Even when they're winning, it seems like it's kind of a forgotten team.
Yeah. With the exception of, who probably, if he keeps going the way he's going, Julio Rodriguez will be Rookie of the Year for the American League. So he's the exception there. Let's look at pitchers. The starters for the American League: Shane McClanahan of the Rays, Nestor Cortez of the Yankees, Alex Manoah of the Blue Jays, Framber Valdez of the Astros, Martin Perez of the Rangers, Paul Blackburn of the A's, Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander, and Shohei Ohtani.
Is it Justin Verlander? Couldn't he be considered a classic all-star pick or a legend all-star pick?
He could, but he's not in this case. Maybe next year.
Actually, it's interesting because Justin Verlander has a mirror, if you will, in the National League staff.
Yeah, he does, which we will get to after I tell you who the relief pitchers are for the American League. Clay Holmes of the Yankees, Emmanuel Clace of Cleveland, Gregory Soto of Detroit, and Jorge Lopez of Baltimore.
Pretty solid. Everybody on there has been having a decent year. Just saw Jorge Lopez from Baltimore pitching over this last week, and he's pretty solid. I would say he's an all-star for sure.
All right, let's move to the National League and start with the reserves. William Contreras of Atlanta. Of course, we know he's the DH. Bryce Harper is out. So William Contreras. So MLB and the Contreras brothers get their wish of the two brothers playing in the All-Star game because Wilson Contreras is the starting catcher. Nolan Arenado, Jeff McNeil of the Mets, Travis d'Arnaud, C.J. Cron of the Rockies, Dansby Swanson, d'Arnaud and Swanson are there, Schwarber, Juan Soto. Did I just say Schwarber? I just call him Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber of Philadelphia, or Michael Schwarber, however you want to say it. Juan Soto, Starling Marte of the Mets, and Ian Happ of the Cubs are reserves. And then Albert Pujols is chosen by the commissioner's office as that legend pick.
And he makes sense. Not that that Miggy doesn't as well. They're kind of mirroring each other also, as far as where they stand in the game right now. Albert obviously is the active home run leader, up high, number 5 on the all-time list. And I was hoping for number 4, but he's going to have to go on a tear in the second half if that's gonna happen to get past A-Fraud.
And then if we look at the National League starters, Clayton Kershaw, 9th All-Star for him, All-Star game for him. Sandy Alcantara of the Marlins, Corbin Burns, Luis Castillo, Max Fried, Joe Musgrove, and Tony Gonsolin, who is Justin Verlander's mirror.
Well, I would say that that Clayton Kershaw and Justin Verlander, based on where they are in their careers, and I think this is both their 9th All-Star games, and that's what I was thinking. But yeah, Tony Gonsolin.
Well, I was
Tony
thinking
Gonsolin,
of records,
that
at least
too.
for the season.
There's that.
So 2 mirrors.
Yeah, I was thinking more Clayton just because they're both veterans. They've both been to the All-Star game. Like I said, I think both of them, this is their 9th selection. And for Gonsolin, it's his first. And I think, honestly, from All-Star status, I think he's doing more than Verlander is. But, it's cool, too. Verlander's coming off of a couple of years of injury, Tommy John, and coming back around. I was surprised that this was Max Fried's first All-Star selection. I was thinking that he had been there before.
Yeah, that surprised me too. I would have thought that he would have been there. That made sense to me because he's always been a good pitcher. I don't think that there's been a year where he's been off.
Right. He always seems to be right up there at the top of everything. And then David Bednar is a name that I recently heard in trade rumors.
Well, he will be representing Pittsburgh in the relief pitchers category. David Bednar, he's someone that the Dodgers know well. He closed them out many times over this season. Good thing they don't have to see them again. Edwin Diaz of the Mets, Josh Hader, Ryan Helsley of the Cardinals, and then Joe Mantiply of Arizona. I was like, who is that? I had to look up his name, and I'm still not sure if I said it right, but the only two that stood out to me was Josh Hader, of course. He kind of is a fixture, and then David Bednar because of the agony he caused me as a Dodger fan.
What's interesting is he is the only Pirate named to the team. And you would have thought that maybe Brian Reynolds might have been there, at least him, maybe even Joe Sawinski might have been there. He's been having a pretty good year overall. It seems like that might have been all-star worthy. All right. So we've got that all set. Now we just are waiting, like I said, on the all-star starter to be announced. While you would like to see Tony Gonsolin get the nod for that, if he doesn't, who's your next choice?
I think it would be really cool to see Clayton Kershaw start the All-Star game at Dodger Stadium on his mound, his home mound. I think that'd be really cool. I have a feeling that it might be I think it might be Sandy Alcantara of Miami. I just kind of I'm not sure. It could be totally. We'll see. Brian Snitker is the manager for the NL team. Dusty Baker is the manager for the American League side. Dave Roberts is on the coaching staff, so he might be able to, campaign a little. But we'll see.
Yeah, Sandy Alcantara wouldn't be a bad choice for that. He's having a great year. Another player that I just recently got to see play. So, yes, we will see that. Now with All-Star Week, you got the big game on Tuesday there at Dodger Stadium. On Monday is one of the biggest extras of any All-Star games. And that's the home run derby.
I think that almost that the home run derby has even gotten bigger than the game. I mean, the game is fun. It doesn't mean the same thing. I know we've talked about this in the past. It's not. It used to be, it's National League versus American League. Obviously, it still is. But there was more. There's more to it because there wasn't the interleague play. Right. So now the home run derby, the game is exciting for the most part. It's fun, but the home run derby, I think, is what a lot of fans look forward to. I know I do. But Pete Alonso going for the three-peat. Polar Bear is back.
Something that has never been done 3 times in a row. Now, there is one 3-time champion of the home run derby, but it wasn't consecutive. He went back-to-back, and when he tried to do the third back-to-back, he ended up getting beat. But he had won one off earlier on. Do you know who the only 3-time home run derby champion is?
I'm going to say...
Bueller? Bueller?
Mark McGuire.
No,
Oh.
no. This guy's actually in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
And he did it, just as a big hint, he did it with his hat backwards.
Oh, Ken Griffey Jr.
Yep.
Of course.
Junior has 3 home run derby titles, 2 of them back to back, but was not able to get the third one. He was beat in that last one. So now Pete gets his shot. And he was the first one to sign on. And will he be able to go back to back to back? Will he be able to do, as Pat Riley once called the Lakers championship run, a three-peat?
I don't know. We'll see. After he announced that he was going to be in the home run derby, Ronald Acuna Jr. Has signed up. Juan Soto and the surprise Albert Pujols in the home run derby.
Wow, that
Now-
would be cool if he could win that on the way out the door, and if they would. I think I know you did. You told me yesterday. It's like that'd be cool if they counted those towards his career total.
Yeah, why not? I mean, they're home runs. Just put them in the total.
Now, for Albert, it probably would have been better if this year's All-Star game had been in Houston, because Mike Trout can't hit in Houston, Albert Pujols owns Minute Maid. I think the Crawford boxes or whatever they call them, they might as well call them the Pujols boxes. It's the Pujols train that runs up there because he's hit up on the tracks numerous times.
Now, could they do a special satellite where he is in Minute Maid? The rest of them are at Dodger Stadium, but he gets, because he's a legend, and he gets to pick where he wants to hit home runs.
Right. Yeah, that would be. He hit a few home runs when he was with the Dodgers last year. And, and probably if we looked, he probably hit a fair amount of his 684 home runs at Dodger Stadium when he was with the Cardinals and the Angels.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so those 4 guys right now are.
So it's
they're
3 National League East guys and Albert.
Yeah, and Albert.
So it's an interdivisional home run derby so far. I'm sure we'll see, a few sign on. We need some American leaguers to hop up there and get going. Once again, a lot of these guys will say, no, I don't want to do it because I'm not on the All-Star team. So I don't want to take the extra time to go to LA or to wherever the All-Star game is. I'm just going to take this time off.
Yeah, I would take the time off and then just hit all the home runs in the second half of the season.
Right.
That would be my plan.
Last year, Pete Alonso hit 79 home runs over three rounds. I think it was the year before, Vladdy Jr. hit like 75 in 2 rounds. So that's what you got to shoot for the second half. 75 home runs on top of what you already have.
Let's see if anybody can do it. Yeah.
That would be pretty incredible.
75.
That's the one nice thing is that the numbers, even in those couple of years where, it seemed like the numbers were starting to fall when McGuire broke Maris's single season record. And then Sammy Sosa had over 60 a couple of different years during his time, and then of course Barry Bonds and his total for a season and then career. Those numbers, even those guys had those big numbers, but it's all settled down, and it didn't become that where people were hitting. Oh, the second half I'll hit 75 home runs. It hasn't hit that. The numbers are still pretty standard historically. All right. Also during the week, All-Star week, we're going to have the draft. We will talk a little more about that next week. But one guy who I'm interested to see what happens with was picked up by the Mets last year, but the Mets non-tendered him. and with good reason. This guy was injured, and that's Kumar Rocker out of Vanderbilt. So Kumar Rockers had to sit around, rehab from his surgery, had to get back out there and work without a team to assist him. He's had a couple of workouts that I've heard about that he's looking pretty good. So we'll see who picks him up this time. And will he go high in the draft, or will he be a okay, if this guy's not here, we'll go for him, or like a later first round, late, or second rounder. I wonder. I haven't heard a lot about how excited they are about him one way or the other. So we'll see about that and who else goes. And will the Angels pick 10 more pitchers?
Right. Yeah, because last year was how many? 20?
Yeah, right. They went 20. Every round they just picked a pitcher.
So, yeah. And one of them could be Kumar Rocker.
It could be. You never know. They need all the pitching help they can get, but they kind of need major league ready pitching help right now.
Now, I did hear that the Braves and the Royals had a trade, and the Braves sent minor league, I think about 3 minor league players, and to Kansas City for Kansas City's draft pick.
Right, which is a weird thing. And it threw me off for a second because I forgot in the new CBA, they can trade draft picks like they do in the NFL, like they do in the NBA, that you can do. I'm not sure. I don't remember what the details were about that, but being able to trade up to get somebody or to trade yourself into the right bonus slot, because that was another thing that came up, was like, this is a $2 million bonus slot that they've moved into. And they have, I think the Braves had more bonus money, saved up than any other team. So that part is, so we might see some more trades to get, a couple of batter or a couple of pitchers for somebody, or a couple of minor leaguers for a team that wants to move up because they're trying to maybe get Kumar Rocker. All right, Tuesday the 19th, the All-Star game comes to Dodger Stadium, and now you know who's supposed to be there. Like I said, there could be some changes to rosters if there's injuries, or a player may be able to bow out just because, even though they're not officially on the IL, maybe there's a reason why, or their spot in the rotation comes up right before the All-Star game, like the pitcher's not going to pitch then. So you might see some changes to that, but those are the folks that were officially voted in as the All-Stars.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Before we get into the Dodgers week of uninspired baseball, we want to pay homage to someone who was a big inspiration to Dodgers baseball. Former scout Mike Brito of the Dodgers. He was always a fixture there. If you're not sure about the name, he showed up in a lot of different things. There was always pictures of him around, and you would see him behind home plate with his radar gun and the cigar. And he, like I said, was a fixture around there. Mike Brito has passed away at the age of 87. One of the biggest things that he did was sign Fernando Valenzuela, and then on top of that was the guy who there was another player who threw the screwball, and they had he said, "Hey, we need to teach that to Fernando." And Fernando took to it, and that became his signature pitch. And who knows, if Fernando hadn't been taught the screwball, what his career would have been like, because that changed everything for him.
Yeah, and Fernando Mania overtook Dodger Stadium, and still a fixture. Fernando Valenzuela, just a legend in for the Dodgers, and discovered by Mike Brito. He also discovered Yasiel Puig and Julio Urias.
Just to name a few.
Just a few.
Yeah, I mean, when you look back at some of the players, so Urias, Victor Gonzalez, who we haven't seen pitch lately, but he found him. Ismael Valdez, remember him?
Yeah.
He was another one. And then he also helped facilitate other players even through the years, that came, like you had mentioned. Yasiel Puig was one of them. And in fact, Yasiel Puig tweeted out, "You changed my life, Mike Brito. You and your white hats are hashtag legend, hashtag RIP."
Yeah, Mike Brito. You always knew where he was behind home plate, as you mentioned. Panama hat, cigar, and a radar gun.
So a big loss for the Dodger family. He, like I said, when you go back and you look at his total contribution over the years to the Dodgers, he's meant a lot to them. He was a minor leaguer at one time, and like a lot of players, just didn't work out for him as a player, but obviously had an eye for finding good baseball players. All right, so uninspired, boring Dodger baseball.
So boring. I mean, most of the time I was watching these games and like, should I just turn this off and do something else?
So the Dodgers made good use of some brooms that were left behind by the Pirates.
Yeah, they had left them in that video room,
Right.
that the Mets were complaining about.
Right. They figure, well, we'll leave them in there, and if the other team wants to clean up of the rat stuff that's going on in there, then have at it. And on this homestand, they welcomed in the Rockies and the Cubs, but they weren't necessarily hospitable hosts. Because while they welcomed them in, they went on to sweep both series. And on the homestand, went 10-1. We talked about last week with the Padres being in there. That was the only game they lost out of the 11 of the homestand.
Yeah, this homestand, the way the Dodgers played is probably the best that I have seen this team play this season. They have gelled together, and it was fun games, and the Rockies can be tough with the Dodgers. They, for whatever reason, they can play tough, but this time it was all LA. And in the first game, the Dodgers won 5-3. Julio Urias is on the mound, pitches 6 innings, gives up 5 hits, only 1 run, has 7 strikeouts in that game. Trace Thompson had a home run, the go-ahead home run, to put the Dodgers up 5-3 and win that game.
Now, do you think that Julio not making the All-Star game is a snub? Should he have been there instead of Clayton?
I don't know. I think I like Julio, but he has had some rough outings this season. And I think he's an all-star. I just don't know if this year must be the year for Julio. And I think he needs the rest. I think he needs the downtime. I would have loved to have seen him there, but if I had to choose, if you would say, okay, Clayton or Julio, I would go with Clayton.
Okay. In that game as well, they had to face Kyle Freeland, who wasn't on his best stuff. but he did go 5 2/3, 6 hits, 4 runs, did strike out 5. Jose Iglesias, who had his way with the Dodgers in Denver with a home run, as well as All-Star C.J. Cron, getting a around the base trip, courtesy of the Dodgers. One thing a big stat I saw was about Justin Turner, who was 3 for 4 in this game. JT, since the middle of June, is the best in the National League, and maybe even in baseball, hitting .380 since June 18th.
Yeah, it's crazy the turnaround that we've seen with JT. We all know, as a Dodger fan, you're like, okay, April, he's not really going to do a lot. May, he starts heating up. And this year he wasn't really, it's like, okay, when's JT going to heat up? And he finally has, and it's been great to see. I mean, he was our player of the week last week for the Dodgers, because of, the way he came in and he just gets hits. And when you need him, gets the singles, gets the RBIs, gets home runs. Yeah. Good to
Sure
see
enough.
it. Love to see it.
And it's kind of cool because you'll see as we talk about some of these games that while JT shows up and he's playing consistently now and consistent at the bat, there's a few other names that pop up in different games. We've seen Trace Thompson is really being part of the team and contributing. And so it's not necessarily the same guys every night. Gavin Lux, I think, has done 2 things so far. Is that he's been great with the bat, so that's good. He's still got some defensive issues out there. We talked about him not knowing when to get out of the way on fly balls or when to call it, when to back off, and how to back off. So he's had those, but I think he's increased his trade value. And while I don't think they're going to trade him, the Dodgers are looking to be in the Luis Castillo sweepstakes here, or at least Frankie Montas or somebody else that's what is being considered, a top line starter to try to bring in to help shore up the staff. Could Gavin Lux be somebody that goes along with a minor leaguer or two? And think about, if you're Cincinnati, do you consider somebody like Gavin Lux, who can hit, is serviceable in the field, and build around him? He could be the face of the Cincinnati Reds resurgence. The first piece, the first consistent piece, at least with the bat, to join Joey. Well, he could join Joey Votto, and they could rebuild the Big Red Machine. Could Gavin Lux be part of something like that?
I don't know.
Would you like to see them try?
I don't know. I know in the past I've always been, if a trade comes up, I'm always like, oh, Lux is always part of the deal. This time, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we were trading for groundskeepers one time, and you were like, and throw in Gavin Lux too.
Yes.
That guy's a great groundskeeper. Look at how he keeps the mound.
Hot dog vendors, we were trading, and Gavin Lux.
Whatever. He's being traded for 2 ticket takers and a concessionaire.
That's what happened in the Cubs Philadelphia trade that we talked about last week with the
right
with the vendors there. Yeah, no, I mean, anything is possible. I don't know that would happen though. Because he is, he was their top prospect. He didn't look like a top prospect, and now he's finally coming into his own. And I think that they like to mold that some more. Sure,
but wouldn't you think too that at some point maybe the Dodgers think about Cody Bellinger and wonder if they would have traded him 2 seasons ago for something, that they'd be better off because Cody's not ever regained his form since his MVP season. The one thing that I do say about having Cody there is that he's a great fielder. I never worry about when a ball's hit in his direction, especially him and Mookie out there. I never think about, is there going to be a problem?
Yeah, defensively, he's always been great.
The bat, he's just not like he was. He has his times here and there. I mean, he pops up here with, in one of the games with a 3-for-4 night and scores a couple of runs. But, you wonder, what is it? I mean, I guess they can what if in baseball. Well, if anything, you can what if yourself to death. Friedman usually does a pretty good job. He seems to be a master at manipulating his roster and having the right people in there. And all that Cody's got to do is come up when you need him, because you got Mookie, Freddie, Trey, JT coming around. Gavin Lux is hitting the ball well. Will Smith for sure. One guy in this second game that seems to be coming on now is a guy that was talked a lot about maybe moving into the closer role after Kinley left. And it comes up every once in a while more about that as Kimbrel has his issues. And we'll talk about that in a second. But first, rookie Ryan Pepio.
Yeah, Ryan Pepio, first major league win against the Rockies, went 5 innings, gave up 4 hits, 1 run, had 1 walk and 6 strikeouts. Looked really good, looked a lot more comfortable on the mound than in times before where we've seen him pitch. So that was a really good, preview of what's to come for Ryan.
Maybe they'll trade him to the Reds for Luis Castillo.
I don't know.
And he could be part of the rebuilding of the Big Red Machine.
Maybe. Who knows?
Max had a pretty good night, as did Mookie, both of them with home runs. Max was 2 for 2 with 2 walks, 2 RBIs, a double.
Yeah, had a double home run in that game. Like you said, Mookie had a home run. JT 2 for 4 in that game. Lux had a triple.
And a lot of that all off of German Marquez. Another one of those Colorado pitchers that when you hear his name, you think, oh, man. And but it makes me wonder, too, about the Dodgers. When they played in Colorado, we talked about the issues about getting there late and then adapting to being in, the different atmosphere there. Could it be that, they're at home, it's all normal, made it easy to play the Rockies?
Yeah, I think when you're at sea level, it makes it a lot easier. Altitude definitely has a part. If you're not used to, you don't live in a high altitude place and you go and visit, you get fatigued really easy. You got to drink a lot of water. You got to take care of yourself. And then, of course, getting in late doesn't help. So, yeah, I mean, it's possible that with this game or this series, being at home was a big help for the Dodgers instead of being a mile high.
All right, the series wrapped up with a 2-1 victory, and Mitch White on the hill.
Yeah, another guy that is really coming into his own. We've seen him in different positions or roles as far as like coming out of the bullpen. Now with some injuries with Andrew Haney, he's been in the starting rotation, and he went 5 2/3 innings. He gave up 1 hit, 1 run, had 4 walks, and 6 strikeouts, but he still looks a lot better. He also, like I said, is someone that is like figuring it out, looks a lot more comfortable on the mound. So when you see his name and you're like, oh, he's a starter. Okay, how long is this going to go? I don't know. I think I feel a little bit more comfortable with Mitch White on the mound than I did previously. And then, of course, the bullpen came in, and you had David Price, Yency Almonte against his, former team, the Rockies, and then Craig Kimbrell, who does give me the heart palpitations of, oh, great. How many runs is he going to give up? And what's going to happen? And this time he didn't give up any.
His ponytail, so you got that little extra.
I got the heart palpitations. Oh, no, not at all. Yeah, this one was kind of a crazy one. It was 1-1. It's tied up. Mookie Betts comes to the plate. Daniel Bard, who has been the closer for the Rockies, and he usually is just lights out. They had Mookie Betts hits a bouncer over his head, and Cody Bellinger was on third, and he came in and scored, and Mookie walked it off with a bouncer over.
With a fielder's choice.
Yeah. And
Cody scored both runs that night of the 2-1. And really, that's the only thing that kind of sucked for Mitch White, was that he qualified for a decision, but the Dodgers didn't score any runs till the bottom of the ninth to walk it off, like you said. And so Craig Kimbrell walks away with the W, but not because he blew the save and then was the pitcher of record when they scored the runs to win. It was actually just they didn't score any runs along the way. It was a low scoring night for sure. So the Rockies pack up their stuff, probably defile the video room just to be mean, to be spiteful after getting swept by a Dodgers team that looks like they're finally coming together, and they welcome in the Cubs, and they do something that has never happened in franchise history. The Dodgers swept the season series from the Cubs, and it's the very first time in Dodger history that they've ever swept them for a whole season series. They've swept maybe one part or another part, but never the full series.
That's the full series. And in this particular series, this 4-game series, this is crazy to me, but this is the first 4-game sweep of the Cubs since 1965 in LA. So we're talking Cubs were facing Sandy Koufax, Don Drysdale. This is the last time it happened. A special year, 1965. So crazy, but the games were crazy. They were, the first game, probably not so much. Dodgers win that game 5-3. Catman is on the mound, 7 innings, gives up 4 hits, 2 runs, only has 3 strikeouts, does give up a home run in this game. And then Craig Kimbrell comes in. He's supposed to save the game. And he gives up 2 hits and a run and has 2 strikeouts. And who comes in and gets his first save? Alex Vesia, who you love to see on the mound because he's got this energy and he thrives off of the crowd. They're going crazy. I think at this point they were chanting. I think there were some chants going on in the stadium. We want Kenley when Kimbrell was on the mound. But Alex Vesia comes in and strikes out the batter that he faced and wins the game, and they win the game. And the funny thing is he gets so pumped up and he's yelling and yeah. And then here comes Will Smith. Like, yeah, good job. You did it. Just kind of,
which
all
kind
right.
of, you've talked about that. It's like when, some teams when they come in, there's the big celebration about a home run or whatever. These guys are just like, yeah, fist bump. All right, way to go. Like, that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in this game, Mookie Betts had 2 home runs. Trey Turner chipped in with a double. JT had a home run. Gavin Lux had a home run. And Trace Thompson had a double to help lift the Dodgers to
over
a 5-3
Mark
win.
Leiter Jr.
Yeah,
Former
who is
major
the
leaguer Mark
nephew,
Leiters,
right? His son, and then his nephew to Al Leiter,
who's an MLB analyst and probably the more successful of the Leiter brothers.
Yes.
Mark Leiter would actually come in and pitch in relief in a couple of games as well during the series. Ian Happ had an okay series for the Cubs, all-star, showing why. And in this next game, Ian had a nice little moment with starter Tyler Anderson.
Yes. Ian. What kind of name is Ian?
Eon.
Oh, it's going Ian.
Eon Miller. Eon Happ. I don't know.
Yeah, in this game, it's a Zennings game, which we're all get a little leery about. But Tyler Anderson comes in, he's pitching, goes 7 innings, gives up 5 hits, 3 runs, has 4 strikeouts. But the issue came when Ian Happ comes to try to score a run at home plate, and Tyler Anderson has the ball in his glove. He is going to be out. And I guess Ian just figured, hey, I know I'm out. I'm just going to charge him. And he does. And he gets pushed to the ground.
Now, to be fair, it wasn't Pete Rose, Ray Fosse kind of collision. He wasn't going full speed. And it wasn't as if it was like a full, like, I'm going to get through this and knock the ball loose and, whatever. He kind of drops his shoulder down, but he didn't really run into him very hard. But it was enough that he was trying to run through him, though. And and Tyler Anderson had the upper hand and basically did a little bit of an Olay move. But instead of just moving out of the way and letting Ian Happ's energy take him down or whatever, he physically assisted him to the ground by, as he turned to get off of him, he put his hands on his back and pushed him down and forward and then walked off like nothing. He didn't stand around and wait for confrontation. However, when Ian Happ got up and was like, hey, he did turn around and look at him, but it really didn't,
no fireworks, no melee, no brawl. No.
Which was kind of surprising. You'd have thought that something after that, there'd be a little something, but nope.
Yeah, and there wasn't. Yeah, and even after the game, Tyler Anderson was asked about what happened, and he said, this is what happened, and he goes, he plays with a lot of energy. I like it. I didn't, in the moment, it was, that kind of thing. It's just in the moment, but afterwards, yeah, it happened, and it's not a big deal. So, but it was kind of fun to see. You just don't see him like that. He seems pretty calm for the most part. And so when he pushed him down, it's like, woo, okay.
Yeah, I was like,
So,
what's about to happen here? He doesn't, even though he went 7 innings, he doesn't get the win because they did go to Zennings. Evan Phillips picks up the W on that. The Dodgers left 10 runners on base and were 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. If they had been able to convert some of those, it wouldn't have been a 4-3 Zenning victory. But miracles can happen twice, and 2 Zennings games in a row with a victory.
Yeah, and I think the recipe for the Dodgers is to make sure that if you're going into Zenning, somehow get Trey Turner up to bat, say, get an out, don't just, if
Be
you
the
can.
last out.
And be the last out, right? Be the last out. So he is the automatic runner, because I heard that is the correct term. People don't like ghost runner because a ghost, you can't see them. And a ghost runner really is just Tim Anderson. We're just going to give him that.
Tim Anderson is the omnipresent base runner.
Yeah. So Trey Turner is the automatic runner. On second is the key. No, the ghost runner there, and that was Trey Turner. They walk Freddie Freeman to get to Will Smith. Now, Will Smith was like, yeah, whatever. Now, if it had been Max Muncy, it would have been crazy. I don't know what would have happened. Maybe
Home
there
run.
would have been a brawl. Yeah. But Will Smith gets up there and hits a single, and Trey Turner was off and running. And I think before the ball even got to left field, he had already was rounding third. The left fielder of the Cubs didn't even bother to pick the ball up. He just ran off the field.
He was running towards it, kind of bit down a little bit like he was going to come up with it, and then realized and just, never mind. And kept going.
Yeah, yeah. You
Some
can't get Trey.
groundskeeper's going to get a ball tonight. That's how he was
Yes.
looking at it. So they picked that up. Jake Lamb does DH that night, grabs or hits a home run for the Dodgers, taking us to Game 3, and Kershaw on the bump to I don't know, solidify his all-star resume, I guess, to get in there and get those last votes.
Yeah, and to feed the LA area so that all of you could get jumbo jacks, because he had 10 strikeouts
Get it alone
in that game. Just
Sometimes
him.
they put 6 pitchers up and they don't get
Can't
there.
do it. Everyone eats. Yes, he was feeding the Southland. And that was Clayton Kershaw, 7 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 10 Ks. I mean, 10 strikeouts. He looked great. Evan Phillips comes in, and then Craig Kimbrell with his 15th save. And I'm sure Clayton might have been sweating it when Kimbrell came on the mound.
Another night and another home run for Jake Lamb.
Yep. And I was going to mention Marcus Stroman was on the mound for the Cubs. This was his first start after coming off the IL. He went 4 innings, gave up 2 hits, but didn't give up any runs, had 3 strikeouts. So
maybe he was probably still a little dizzy from riding the wheel.
Yeah, just a little bit. But I think his outing was enough for the Cubs to think, okay, maybe, he's looking better after his ride on the wheel. Mookie Betts 2 for 4 in that game. Trey Turner had a double. Like you mentioned, Jake Lamb, he hit the tying home run of the game to make it 2-2. And then the Dodgers just come up. Lux was 2 for 4. Bellinger, was 1 for 4. Everybody was contributing in some way, except for Max Muncy.
Yeah, well, that's all right. I mean, if he can have more good nights than not, that's what we want to see for that. But I just don't. I'm beginning to wonder if he's going to be able to fully come back to at least closer to who he's been, as long as that elbow is, I mean, it's his off elbow. It's not like he's throwing with it, so it's not a problem there. But as long as that's a problem, and it bugs him, and it's his lead elbow, I mean, it's his back elbow when he's batting, but when you're following through, it's gotta be taking its toll on there, and it might not even, it might hurt when he swings.
And I would not be surprised if we hear that at some point, probably not during the season, but that he eventually will get surgery on that elbow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's probably in the talks for this coming off season. Now, you said it was a crazy series so far. Seems kind of tame. They saved a lot of the craziness, including a first inning grand slam for the final game of the series. Julio back on the bump for the Dodgers, and he and Drew Smiley, the starter for the Cubs, had almost identical lines. Both only went 2 innings. Only 3 hits given up by Julio, 5 given up by Smiley. But Julio gave up 5 runs, and Smiley only gave up 4 runs.
Yeah, that game was crazy. I turned it on a little bit late. I think it was like a 1:10 start. So I turned it on probably almost, 20 minutes after, and it was already 5-0. And I was like, what has happened? What is going on? I had no idea.
And it was still the top of the first.
And it was still the top of the first. We weren't even out of it. It was already 5-0. Yeah, Julio, I don't know. He was laboring on the mound. I did think it was good for him in that first inning. I think he had 40 plus pitches. And I think it was good for him for them to let him go out and pitch the second inning. And he was able to, it was pretty much a, 1, 2, 3 inning, just a basic Julio inning. And then, of course, that was the end, because by that time, he'd already, by that time he was like, over 50 pitches, 60 pitches, something crazy like that.
Right.
But then you had Phil Bickford, who comes in, and it was his birthday, and he gives up 2 hits and 3 runs, gives up a home run, and he's the winner of the game. So he did get the winning pitcher for his birthday. But it was the bullpen that came in afterward that helped, with the exception of David Price, who he gave up 1 run. But yeah, it was just a crazy game because, like you said, at one point it was 5-0. Then the Dodgers get 3 of those runs back, so it's 5-3. And then Phil Bickford comes in, and Cubs hit a home run, and it is 8-3. And you're like, okay, this is crazy. And it was the 3rd inning by this point. And the Dodgers come back and win 11-9. It was almost a 4-hour game.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman was the big gun for the Dodgers during this marathon. 4 for 5, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored, a home run, and a double. The usual suspects as of lately: Trey Turner, Gavin Lux, and JT, Justin Turner, all had 2 hits. Trey, 2 RBIs on there. PJ Higgins was the Cub who hit the grand slam in the first inning.
And it was his first grand slam.
Nelson Velasquez and David Booty all contributed home runs in that 11-9 win. Now, we talked about a guy who was considered or was thought to be the heir apparent to Kenley Jansen. And he picked up his second save in Game 2 of the Rocky series. And he picked up his 3rd save in this 11-9 game. And he's starting to look like what we thought he would be in relation to becoming the closer. And that is the bazooka, Brusdar Gratterall.
Yeah, he actually came in and pitched 2 innings in that game, and yeah, it looked really good and has looked good. He's had a couple of times, there's been some games where it's like, this is what's going on here, but he's looked a lot sharper, and especially in this game 4 against the Cubs. So yeah, just a crazy game, and a wild outcome, obviously for the Dodgers, 11-9, 10-1 on the homestand, first time since 1980.
All right, so the Dodgers have a short week for all purposes, only 5 games, 3 of them in St. Louis. And so that may seem like more than a week because it's probably going to be hot and muggy in down along the river there to take on the Cardinals. And so we'll get to see Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt and those guys. And, one guy talking about snubs would have been Tommy Edman, who at the beginning of the season was leading everybody in WAR. He was every time you turned on highlights, he was the highlight machine, and he's kind of faded off a little bit from there and didn't make the All-Star game. Can he blame his teammate Albert Pujols for not making the All-Star game?
Maybe, because he was the legend. He was the legend pick.
That's right. So Tommy just got to become a legend, dude.
That's it.
But Yachty's not there. Wainwright's not there. So, of course, neither one of them are, leading the current leader in all the baseball offensive stats like Albert is. And then they're going to finish up the week with 2 in Anaheim. And so it's going to be a weird week because they only play on Friday and Saturday. They have Sunday off on the way into the All-Star break. Now, they will start back up on the Thursday after. They won't wait till the Friday, so they will start with a 4-game set coming out of the All-Star break. So maybe that's why they worked it out this way, to be off on the Sunday. So you got that. It's time for our player of the week.
My player of the week is number 9, Gavin Lux.
Wow.
466 in these games. The games against the Cubs and the Rockies. Hit 2 triples, hit a home run, 2 RBIs.
And I stayed with Justin Turner. He 478 on the week, a home run, 3 RBIs, and an OPS of 1109.
Yeah, there were a lot to choose from this week when you were going through and looking at box scores. But yeah, I picked JT last week. I thought about picking him again, but I thought, give it to Gavin.
Well, maybe I should have to help, bolster his trade value. Hey, he got the SRBB player of the week. We need this guy.
That's it. That's how it goes.
The new big red machine. We've talked before about teams that you should beat. The Dodgers did it with beating the Rockies, a team that they definitely should beat. Even the Cubs are a team that they should beat, even though the Cubs are better than the Rockies overall. The Angels were about to go into 2 series that were teams the May version of the Angels would have beaten or should have beaten. They come out of Houston completely demoralized, swept by the Asterix, and head to Miami. They got the 4th of July off, a little rest. They got to, do whatever they get to do on the road. I don't know what 4th of July in Miami was like, but they could watch some fireworks and have some Cuban American food for the 4th of July down there, and a day off and relax. Well, The problem for them was that they started the series versus All-Star and Cy Young favorite right now, Sandy Alcantara, and the who went 8 innings, gave up 2 hits and no runs.
And 10 strikeouts.
Oh, right. And 10 strikeouts. But for the Angels, that doesn't really seem to be like a big deal. Fish in a
No.
barrel, as far as them and strikeouts. What do we talk about? They've struck out like 50 more times than everybody else.
Yeah,
Last
10
week
is
we talked
nothing.
about that. So that was like,
that's nothing.
that's batting practice. Syndergaard on the mound for the Angels. He goes 5 innings, gives up 2 runs, strikes out 8 on his own, but gave up 2 home runs, one to Garrett Cooper, the other one to Brian De La Cruz. Taylor Ward with a sacrifice fly, scoring Michael Stefanik, and that would be all there was. It's a low-scoring affair, 2-1, so it's not as if the Marlins, I almost called them the Dolphins, the Marlins ran over the Angels. It was just good pitching on Alcantara's part, and had Syndergaard not given up the home runs, he would have, who knows how it would have ended up. Game 2 has become, when Shohei's on the mound, it's kind of become like when Tony Gonsolin's on the mound for the Dodgers. You kind of just expect a win or at least a good outing. And once again, we got a good outing. Shohei threw 7, gave up 2 hits, 1 run, and struck out 10 on his own. So he's been doing that, double-digit strikeouts his last 3 outings.
Yeah, looked really good.
Also helped himself out, 1 for 4, 2 RBIs, and a stolen base. Taylor Ward, 1 for 3 with an RBI. Mike Trout did have an RBI in the game, but was 0 for 4. And then had 3 players hit by pitches. Trout was one of them. Max Stassi and recent call-up Monty Harrison all hit by a pitch during that game. But there were no brawls. They must not have thrown at Mike's head.
No, that's what the catalyst is.
Yeah, usually. Although, like we talked about last week, Mariachi Joe got away with it. But that's because it just means he likes you. It's like when you get hit in the schoolyard. It's not aggression, it's amor. So they packed up their things and headed up the coast to Baltimore and took on I'm not sure I guess you could say a surging Orioles team.
Yeah, that also, again, seems like an oxymoron. We talked about this last week. It doesn't sound right.
And
surging?
I thought
Baltimore?
about it, that the Orioles, spoiler alert, the Orioles sweep the Angels there and leading to an 8-game winning streak. And I thought about it for a second. Oh, that's pretty impressive. And then I realized that half of the wins in the winning streak were against the Angels.
Yeah, the Orioles had not won 8 consecutive games in a season since 2005.
Wow. Yeah, they've been struggling for a while. Doesn't seem like it seems like they've just kind of fallen apart. And they have some good players. Rookie of the Year candidate Adley Rutschman, their catcher, he hit a home run in the first game. He had a very awkward throw. Squid tried to steal second base, or did steal second base. And when he came up throwing, he threw it awkwardly, and it bounced just to the left and behind the pitcher's mound and rolled up there. So it was easy for him to get that. But it looked like he was going to fall over when he threw it. And he's usually a lot more solid than that. But he seems to be comfortable up at that level. Anthony Santander, 2 for 4 with a run scored. So they walk away with a 4-1 win. Game 2, a little closer, 5-4, and it was a walk-off for the Orioles. Mike Trout started things off there. 3 for 5, 3 RBIs with a home run. Shohei, 3 for 5 with an RBI and a home run. And then Reed Detmers back from the minors because we needed him. Chase Silseth, who has been pitching with the Trash Pandas, started game 1. Game 2, Reed actually looked pretty good. 6 innings pitched, only gave up 2 hits, no runs, struck out 7. But the Orioles are able to walk it off thanks to a blown save by Rizal Iglesias. It's his 3rd of the season. He grabs the L on that. Cedric Mullins and Trey Mancini lead the offense in that game. And see, that's the other thing. You've got these 2 guys who are both. Cedric Mullins is really becoming a really solid everyday player. And so they've got some players on that Orioles squad that they can build around and build up to. Plus, they've got the all-star in Jorge Lopez, one of their relievers, their closer, who looked pretty well throughout that series. Now, talking about people looking good, Game 3 was a squeaker, 1-0, with the Orioles taking that one. Patrick Sandoval, though, 6 1/3, gave up 5 hits, the 1 run, struck out 10, looked really good. But as you can tell, there's no offense. I didn't even write down anybody that did anything. If there was any hits or anything, it didn't matter. They couldn't score any runs in that shutout. Anthony Santander is the one who provided the offense, went 2 for 4, and drove in the 1 RBI. And then finally, time to wrap things up in this 4-game set. A little more offense. 9-5 victory for the Orioles. That was the brunch game on the Peacock Network, Peacock app. And I was looking through what did the Oriole players do, and I realized that it was much easier to state who didn't have a hit than who did. Cedric Mullins and Rob McKenna were the only 2 starters without a hit. Trey Mancini, Ryan Mountcastle, one of last year's top rookies, Santander, and then Jorge Mateo, all with multiple hits. Jorge Mateo with a stolen base. The Angels, it was mostly pitching issues there. Max Stassi did have a home run, 1 for 4, 2 RBIs, and then Monty Harrison, 2 for 4, 3 RBIs, and a home run. So big game for the rookie call-up. Looking okay overall. Don't know how much longer he'll be up, but he'll be there for, probably as long as they need him. Jose Suarez and Elvis Peguero were the pitchers who really gave up the bulk of the runs. They head for home, like we talked about the Dodgers heading on the road. Problem for the Angels now is that they have to meet up once again with the Asterix. They've got 3 against them, and they're 4 all-stars, and 2 of them are pitchers that, and especially Framber Valdez is somebody they almost always have issues with, and hopefully they don't have to see him this time, but they'll probably have to see Verlander. So, the thing is, can they beat somebody home? Can they do something to go strong into the All-Star break? And then, like we talked about, they'll have the Dodgers for the last 2 of that season series on the Interleague and the Freeway Series. So we'll talk about that next week. This week, any players of the week for you?
I almost didn't have one, but I went back and looked through everything, and I went with your player of the week last week. I went with Luis Rengifo, not because he was like stellar batting average or anything, but he had a hit in every game.
He had a hit
in every game, so he at least had a hit. So I went with Luis Rengifo for my player of the week.
That's not a bad one. I probably, if I was going to go for a real player of the week, Shohei's probably the best option overall. But I went with no player of the week. There's just not anything going on with the with the Angels overall that allows for.
Yeah, I struggled because I was like, don't give it to anybody. And then I thought, well, I'll give it to him. I think that the Angels need to get Joe Madden back. I think they need to, Perry Maniason needs to go on his hands and knees and get Joe back. Mike Trout, in an interview in Baltimore, has the attitude of, yeah, it's one of those games. It's one of those games. Every game. Mike?
If we go back to last week and we talk about what the article in The Athletic, Sam Blum's, was that they have a toxic positivity problem.
They do.
I even thought about it. I don't remember who it was that they hit a double play in Baltimore. And I'm thinking Phil Nevin's probably sitting there thinking, I wish he would have just struck out.
Yeah.
Because.
Well, I found another gem by Sam Blum of The Athletic. And he talked about this tweet from a Blue Jays fan, but could not be any more. I mean, it's so true. This is a guy, his name's Matt English, and he tweeted out in May of 2021, every time I see an Angels highlight, it's like Mike Trout hit 3 home runs and raised his average to 528, while Shohei Ohtani did something that hasn't been done since Tungsten Arm O'Doyle of the 1921 Akron Groomsmen as the Tigers defeated the Angels 8-3.
Right.
And I was like,
the team, insert whatever
that is
team,
so true.
defeated the Angels.
But so Sam Blum goes on to say, this has happened. On May 29th, Ohtani hit 2 home runs versus Toronto, and June 21st versus Kansas City, the Angels lost. In the loss to Kansas City, Ohtani drives in 8 runs. April 23rd, Mike Trout homered twice, the Angels lost. June 28th, Trout and Ohtani both homered, and the Angels lost. July 8th, Trout and Ohtani both homered, and the Angels lost. And those 2 players drove in all 4 runs. He also goes on to say in the article that only 4 other position players have an OPS over 700. One of them is Michael Stefanik, and he's only been up a week?
Couple weeks now.
Monty Harrison, who has 2 hits this season. The team scored 4 runs or fewer in 33 of 43 games dating to May 25th and is 11-32 in that time. The Angels bullpen, their ERA entering Sunday was 4.07. The Angels have gone 6-25 since the second game of the doubleheader on June 2nd. Ohtani lost the first game that day. And 4 of those 6 wins came in Seattle, where Trout homered 5 times in one series and carried the team to victory. The Angels have gone 5-0 in Ohtani starts since June 2nd, and he has a 0.27 ERA during that stretch. That is the Angels. That tweet is the Angels. I think
encapsulated it perfectly.
Yes, and if they're not looking for a manager, because the interim guy, he needs to go. They need to do something, because I don't know what's going on. This was a team that even Ken Rosenthal was like cautiously optimistic about, and now they're back to, oh yeah, it's the Angels.
It's at the beginning of the season when they signed Syndergaard, and people were like, what? I wasn't unhappy with the Syndergaard signing. I thought that $21 million was a bit much, but I understood that's what it takes to get somebody. But anybody that spoke out about this, like, are you crazy? It's Thor. It's this, and we're this, and you're not real Angel fans. No, I am a real Angel fan. My whole life, I've been a real Angel fan. I've suffered through bad teams. We've had great players and really bad teams. And that's a lot of what's happening here. It's when you look at the worst teams, you look at Cincinnati, they got Joey Votto. Shouldn't that mean something? Sure, it should, but there's nobody else there. When people are talking about how is it that we have Trout and Otani on this team and we're as bad as we are, I tweeted out and in a reply to somebody, when I was a kid, Dr. J and George Iceman Gervin both averaged like over 37 points a game each. And I remember asking Dad, this was for the Virginia Squires, why is it that the Squires always lose when they're both able to score like that? And he said, when you only score 80 points a game, you're not going to win very much because that's it. These two guys are carrying them all. And the reason that they're able to stop things is because Otani stops the other team on the mound and then provides his own offense. Maybe Mike Trout, who's overall been consistent, but he's had big stretches of inconsistency or lack of production. So at this point, I just wonder if next season is Otani's walk season. It's his last one under contract. If they can't get an extension done with him, which if I'm Otani, I'm probably holding out till the last possible minute. Are they trading him next year at trade deadline to get something for him before he walks away from the Angels? Part of the reason why he went with the Angels is because he saw that there was no dominant pitcher there and that he could come in and take that role.
Yeah, which he has. I mean, I say bring back Joe Madden, but really, they need a new owner.
That's really what's needed.
It needs to be from the top down. Yeah, firing Joe Madden was not the problem. And
right, it's not solving it.
No.
And you might as well just let Phil Nevin ride out the season. The Angels continue to fall farther and farther. Now, I mean, something could change. It's not like they can't come back from this. They just have to have now, instead of just continuing to play good baseball and win as many games as they can, it kind of gets taken out of their hands that even if they start winning, you've got to hope that all these other teams that are in front of you for the playoffs, for the wild card, start losing and losing big. And doesn't appear likely. I mean, stranger things have happened. There have been major collapses, but you're talking 4 or 5 teams that have to collapse. And you can't. You have to play perfect baseball.
Yeah, you can't have Mike Trout have a 0 for 16 stint. He's got to be on it, and along with the rest of the lineup.
27 strikeouts.
Yeah, not acceptable.
No. Dugout card just pulled up, so let's take a ride around baseball, see what's happening. We'll start off like we always do with some minor league conversation. The Futures game, which will happen on Saturday the 16th, is we saw 3 Dodgers make the Futures game and 1 Angel. The Angel is Kai Bush, a pitcher who's been pitching at Double-A with the Trash Pandas. The Dodgers catcher Diego Garcia, which we've talked about a few times here, of having some great weeks, moved from Rancho Cucamonga up to High A at Great Lakes. He's part of that. Bobby Miller, who we talked about last week, and what kind of he's a fireballer and putting up a lot of zeros, no earned runs in quite a few innings, things like that. Pitching in Tulsa. Miguel Vargas out of Oklahoma City, another pitcher for the Angels. All of those guys are going to be in the Futures game. Now, what grabbed me about the Futures game was 2 things. Number one, the teams aren't necessarily selected from the best players that are out there across, because every team submits a roster of players that they're willing to let go play in this game. And a lot of times it's, they don't want a pitcher to go and pitch in an exhibition game because they don't like what it might do to their development plan of that pitcher, or a player who might have or maybe they've got some possible injury issues. So that was one thing. So some of the players that are played are just because they were the ones that were available. A lot of them are worthy, but not all of them are having great years. Like Jack Leiter, the Rangers' #1 pick last year out of Vanderbilt. He's not been pitching very well, yet he made the team. But the bigger thing that I saw was the coaching staffs, the futures teams. Jimmy Rollins, remember him from the Phillies? He's the manager.
Yeah.
Jerry Manuel is the bench coach. Edwin Jackson, pitcher, is the pitching coach. Adrian Beltre is the hitting coach.
Just don't touch his head.
Don't touch his head, but Jeremy Reed is the Angels hitting coach. Maybe they should be talking to Adrian Beltre. He of over 3,000 hits and 500 home runs.
I think that would be excellent. That'd be a start of something.
Right. And then Gary Matthews Jr. Is the first base coach. Dan Otero is in the bullpen. All of these guys, former major leaguers, and most of them you've heard of. And then when you get to the other team, they've got a pretty good coaching staff as well, led by 3 former Angels organization employees. The manager, Mike Scioscia.
Yeah, I love Mike Scioscia.
And then his bench coach was his first base coach with the Angels, including the 2002 championship team, Alfredo Griffin. Former Angels pitcher and Diamondbacks pitcher, Dan Herron is the pitching coach. The hitting coach, former Dodger and a pretty good hitter in his own right, Sean Green.
Oh, yeah.
Another former Dodger, but more known as a Red, Eric Davis is the first base coach. And then the third base coach is the manager of the Gwinnett Stripers, Matt Sisopo is the third base coach. So a really good coaching staff on both sides of the diamond there. And so these guys, hopefully these kids will learn quite a bit from hanging out with these guys.
Yeah, soak it all in.
Yep. So the futures game coming up on Saturday the 16th. So that's this Saturday. Let's take a look now. Before we get to craziness in baseball in Cincinnati, let's look at the players of the week. Who's the AL?
The AL player of the week is Corey Seager of the Texas Rangers. Haven't heard a lot about Corey this season. He's doing his thing.
Because he plays in Texas.
Right, exactly. But he's doing his thing.
He plays in a giant barbecue.
He batted 500 with a 1.601 OPS during the week. He had an AL best 4 home runs and had multiple hits in 5 of 6 games. He also only struck out once, and he also hit 3 home runs in 3 consecutive games. And then our National League player of the week is Austin Riley of the Atlanta Braves. He hit .448 with 3 doubles, 3 home runs, and a 1.346 OPS. And his 8 RBIs were tied for the most by an NL player.
Sweet. All right. So, Dateline, Cincinnati. Or was it Tampa Bay? Where were they?
It was Cincinnati.
They were in Cincinnati. At home. And something that had only happened 22 times before it in the history of baseball happened again. In walk-off fashion, the Reds grab a W over the Tampa Bay Rays thanks to a walk-off balk.
Yeah, in the bottom of the 10th, so we're in innings, Nick Senzel laid down a sacrifice bunt. He moved the automatic runner, the ghost runner, from second to third. And then Tampa Bay's reliever, Matt Weissel, balked, and the run scored. and it was a walk-off balk for the Reds, and the Reds announcers were just going crazy, and they said, "He balked! He balked! They walked it off! He balked!"
That's what happens when your team doesn't win a lot.
Right, you get excited about a balk.
You know, what's kind of crazy is that, I had to watch it 2 or 3 times, because there's been times that I've seen where there's been, there was a balk, and I go back and look at it, and I'm like, if you're not really paying attention, you miss it. And all he did was you have to come and set. So in your windup, at some point, you have to stop completely. And he moved his glove. And to me, it's not a distraction or a deceptive move, I didn't think. It's almost like just having a nervous twitch. It could have been part of his windup or whatever, but it wasn't. And that movement ended up being the balk. To me, that's no way for the game to end.
No, but I think what happened is they heard the announcer from the booth, and balk rang out across the stadium.
And he's like, I'm going to call that a balk for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah. It's like that Taco Bell commercial where you hear the ding.
They hear the ding
It was balk.
Have you ever noticed, though, that in a lot of their commercials, it's like the guy and the girl, they meet on the beach, or the latest one, they're both playing on a co-ed softball team, and they're kind of like, ooh, I kind of like you. And both times when the bell rings in their, that Taco Bell sound, the girl leaves.
Yeah, it's always the girl.
She doesn't just go and get a taco, even though it says sometimes you just need a taco. In this last one, she's eating like 3 of those crunchy quesaritos or whatever they call them. I don't know what it is, whichever
I don't know.
thing they have. And it's not like she's just got 1 of them. She's got 3 of them.
Yeah.
That bell rang and rang hard. And she's like, I don't care, dude, if you turn your, put on a rally cap and are trying to root on the team. Taco Bell is more important. Not that I disagree with that. Taco Bell is pretty important. But I just wonder who's writing the commercials, and why does it always kind of work that same way?
Yeah, they have the formula. They just stuck with it.
They've locked in on that one.
They have.
All right. So the last couple of weeks we've talked about City Connect uniforms, and it started off in a conversation about 17 paragraphs. What was it? It was a novel. The description of the Angels, City Connects, rivals War and Peace for total length.
Yeah.
And even James Joyce got up from his grave and said, I don't understand. More people are understanding War and Peace. So we talked about it, tore apart the jerseys, talked about some stuff we liked about the jerseys, like when they don't wear them. Then we also had the Colorado Rockies at that same time. I was like, wow, that really makes sense. And it was one thing. We just looked at the license plate. That seemed to sum up Colorado. So we did like a state connect instead of a city connect. But that's the city connect kind of thing too for Denver. So there we are. Simple. Since then, we've had a couple of others come out. But by far, the worst has been unveiled. Of the 14, this is number 14 so far in the City Connect jerseys. This one is the worst. And it's courtesy of the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, the Padres are the 7th and final team to release their City Connect uniforms this season. And each jersey design is a celebration of the unique personality, traditions, and values that unite the fans of every club. The Padres debuted theirs on Friday, and they're going to wear them every Friday when they have home games. Now, speaking of Taco Bell, especially in the 90s, the colorful uniforms of the San Diego Padres feature sleeves of pink and mint, with San Diego emblazoned across the chest in those same hues. They feature outlines of yellow, and then taken as a whole, the uniforms are meant to match the vibrant colors of San Diego's fabled pink and yellow sunsets beyond the Pacific Ocean. They're also a nod to the landscapes and artwork of San Diego and nearby Baja Peninsula. And a big portion of the team's fan base hails from Tijuana, Mexico, and the surrounding areas in Baja California. So this is not just a city connect. This is like international connect.
Region connect.
Yes.
International connect, yeah.
But they are ugly.
Yes, they are. A lot of tweets about it. There's one with a look on Manny Machado's face. He's wearing it, and he's got that look. And somebody put look on the Taco Bell employee's face when you come in 5 minutes before closing, and it really does look like that. That was the perfect tweet. They won that day. The way the San Diego was written across, I like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, the font.
The hat is not bad. By itself, it's like, well, it's not the brown and yellow or the brown and orange that they had for a lot of years. But just as a whole, and when you look at the catcher and all that, people were like making fun of, it's like My Little Pony wants their accessories back. All that they really needed was like some 5-year-olds during arts and crafts time using the neon colors. They just needed some glitter.
That's it. That's
really,
what needed to really set it off.
Right. And so at that point, it would have gone from what in the world, or as Blanca said, is that a joke? Or people wrote, are they really wearing these? Most of the comments on Twitter. Had there been the glitter, I think it would have gone from horrible to fantastic.
Oh yeah, glitter just is exciting. Everybody likes it. They could have glitter cannons go off, like if they had a win on Fridays when they wear them and they win the game, they could have glitter cannons. They could have a whole thing, like a whole theme, and
they could give out like neon eye black stuff, and the fans could all put it on, and I mean, I do remember, especially in the 80s. You go down to San Diego and you're out like in the beach shops or, the Shoreline Village and that. A lot of the stuff, but it was the same like up at Venice Beach or in Huntington Beach, so the beach areas, a lot of the neon colors. But that was 80s.
Right. That was the 80s. I also heard,
the 20s.
If you remember, I think they're still out. I don't know, the Arizona iced tea. I think they also have like lemonade and stuff, but Arizona iced tea, their cans are very similar to the uniforms of the Padres.
Right. They do look a lot like that. So of the 14, the Padres are ranked 39th. Because it's just terrible. When you look at it, it's like, I wonder too, are they trying to do too much? Because if you look at like the D-packs are very, very plain.
Yeah, they're very simple. I have said that the D-backs, and I think it was because Madison Bumgarner was pitching and they were wearing their City Connects, they looked like old-timey uniforms to me.
I think
because they're like the cream colored or the ivory, and just nothing flashy.
I think though they have like so many different versions of their regular uniform, they needed to just do something. I think it's just supposed to be desert looking.
Yeah,
with black
and
stripes,
that would be
serpientes, still Diamondbacks or snakes. and go from there. Like we said, we've talked about the Angels. The Dodgers we're good with. It's all blue, so they're like the NFL's color rush, where they're all one color and vibrant. The big thing with the Dodgers was the changing of the hat on those with the black brim.
Yeah, really sharp looking. I would say out of the 7 teams that had their City Connects debuted this season, my favorite is the Rockies, and then I also like the Asterix.
Yeah, the Asterix were pretty good with theirs. Some of them, like even Miami, who's got a brightly colored kind of that orange or red color, kind of fits in with their area. That one, had they come out with what the Padres put out, if Miami had done, you would almost said okay, because it would have even reminded you of that scene they had out in the outfield with the palm trees and all that stuff. It would have fit in with that. I still think that the Cubs Wrigleyville jerseys are probably one of the best. Milwaukee's are, I think, just slightly better than the Padres. Definitely better than I don't even know if they're better than the Angels. They're just the same.
There wasn't really anything different, because the Brewers wear blue jerseys sometimes, like powder. So it wasn't like it was a different scheme or, and they had their airport, like the airport locator on their hat.
Oh, I thought that was just some guy from Milwaukee named Mike.
Right.
They're like, hey, he's our biggest fan. We're just going to put that up on our hat.
We're honoring him.
We're honoring Mike.
That's it.
Well, I mean, you think everybody's name is Michael, so why not?
I do. Right. Yeah. I was careful this time. Make sure I checked everyone's name.
What I can say is that we were like, and it didn't get a lot of coverage. I mean, here or anywhere, I didn't hear a lot of talk about it. But all of these make the Kansas City Royals fountain jerseys and City Connects look all that much better.
Yeah, and they're just, and they're, again, there's not really anything fancy. I think maybe with those ones, they're just kind of plain, but I do like adding the glitter to the Padres. I think that would be the ultimate.
And it'll be good for the parades after if they're able to beat the Dodgers, the parades that they have, like they won the World Series through Gaslamp, having the glitter on there will make it seem like Mardi Gras.
Yeah. And then you could, like, just a lot of things you could throw in there.
Right. And accessorize. All right. So we go from beating up on the Padres and their uniform choice for City Connect to a scary moment between a couple of Padres. C.J. Abrams and Jurickson Profar. And it seems to me like I never really hear much about Profar unless they're playing the Dodgers. He seems to step up and be a thorn in their side most of the time. However, this time we talk about it, we're not going to be talking bad about him because he took a shot to the head courtesy of C.J. Abrams' knee in a collision.
Yeah. This was a case of they went to the Gavin Lux school of, who's got the ball, where's the ball, who gets out of the way. Because
they went to the Gavin Lux fielding camp.
Yes, they went to the fielding camp in the off season. Yeah.
Wait, really, does Gavin Lux? He's there. He's like, okay, we're gonna work on fly balls. Okay, no, that was okay, except you didn't run into the other guy. His ribs are still intact. You have to injure your teammate for it to be a successful fly ball catch.
That's it. You got to. And if you're playing shortstop or second base, you go out of your way to get the ball that really is for the left fielder right fielder, anybody else but you.
Right.
Yeah, this was just a really bad collision. He just was knocked out. Profar, his head hit CJ Abrams' knee. He did attempt to get up and walk. And a lot of people are saying, why would the trainer allow this? Because it's like his head went like a different way.
Yeah,
So,
it snapped his neck over to one side.
Yeah.
I think he ended up
Scary.
like a neck stinger, they said,
Yeah.
and a concussion. And as you were saying, they get up to walk off the field, and they were out into the outfield a little bit there in left field. He walked a few steps. He was just before the infield started, and down he went.
Yeah, he collapsed on the field. He was taken off the field in a stretcher, taken to UC San Diego Health, stayed overnight for observation, but he is out indefinitely with a concussion and a neck strain because that was just really scary, but glad that it wasn't, could have been so much worse.
For sure. So he'll be going through concussion protocols and all that, and probably he'll probably be like unofficially because if with the concussion, spinning won't be good for him.
No, yeah.
So he might have to kind of set to the side for his trip on the wheel.
All right. This guy, he's going to be spinning on the wheel for a while. We're going to give an update on Ozzy Albies. He is on the 60-day IL. He has a fractured foot. He underwent surgery last week to stabilize that fracture in his left foot. Rafael Devers is day-to-day with a sore back. Christian Arroyo is on the IL with a left groin strain. And Kyle Hendricks is on the 15-day IL with a shoulder injury. He did have an MRI. There was no structural damage, so that's good news for him. Jake Berger of the White Sox is on the IL with a bone bruise in his hand. Reds' Joey Votto is day-to-day with a sore back. It might be from him doing those TikTok dances. Yordan Alvarez is on the 10-day IL with an injured hand. So he is a reserve in the All-Star game. So we will see if that holds up. Whit Merrifield of the Royals is listed day-to-day. He has swelling and a bone bruise in his toe. Michael Lorenzen is on the 15-day IL with shoulder soreness. He also had an MRI. No structural damage was found, so that is good for him. Chris Taylor has a fractured foot. He was hit by a pitch and was taken out of the game. And then I think the next day came out to play, and then they found out he has a fractured foot. So he is out. Jazz Chisholm Jr. is on the IL with the sore back. He also is one of the starters for the All-Star game. Starling Marte is day-to-day with a groin injury, another All-Star. Alex Bohm of the Phillies is listed day-to-day with a finger injury. Craig Stammen of San Diego is on the 15-day IL for pitchers with shoulder inflammation. And this one I left for last. Brian Reynolds of the Pirates is on the 10-day IL with an oblique strain.
Oblique, oh my side, oh my side.
So that is a spin on the wheel of IL.
All right, so lots going on coming up in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, the biggest thing is going to be the All-Star game as we finish out kind of the first half of the season, first half plus. So the next big thing after that's going to be the trade deadline, which will happen in early August. And
we'll see. Obviously, we talked a little earlier about like Luis Castillo from the Reds is a big name out there, is like probably the number one pitcher being out there. His teammate Tyler Mahle was another one who's been injured, so they're like, how's that going to play out? Frankie Montas, there was worries that he was going to go on the IL, but they found he didn't have any kind of issues, just some inflammation, and it was just a matter of working through it. He's been pitching, so those are three guys that we expect to see. And then I brought up that recently Pittsburgh reliever and all-star David Bednar name has popped up, and the Dodgers have of course, I think the Dodgers pop up right now with any player that might make them better, and especially because they're having issues in the bullpen, primarily with their closer. Looking at some of the top line players, I know that a couple people are saying, well, we need another bat. Ian Happ's name, Eon Happ name popped up. So that's kind of the way it is, and a lot of times I wonder if it just comes up, hey, the Dodgers are interested, because then that might get somebody else, and we don't want the Dodgers to have them.
Right. Yeah, nobody wants the Dodgers to have them.
I mean, think about it. They got
true.
Scherzer and Turner last year, and even though it didn't work out exactly what they wanted, it made them more formidable than they already were. And picking up, I don't know that they necessarily need the offense. If everybody can keep playing the way they're doing, and we can see at least more consistency out of, say, Max Muncy and Cody Bellinger and get Chris Taylor back, then that'll change it up. But I think that a lot of times it's a trading or a negotiating ploy. Well, the Dodgers are interested.
Yankees talking about getting Andrew Benintendi, who plays for the Royals, and shopping around Joey Gallo.
Why would you want Joey Gallo? I mean, I don't know that I would trade Andrew Benintendi for Joey Gallo.
No,
you get
I don't,
really nothing in return other than
that
a little bigger contract.
Good trade.
No, I mean, I get that the Yankees are trying to do anything they can to keep and have the best players. I mean, right now they're the best team in baseball. They're the first over 60 wins. Nobody else does. Even with the surge the Dodgers have been on, they're not to 60 yet. They might be by the end of this coming week of games.
Yeah, I saw that, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know that would be, that's not a trade I would take. Another name that has popped up, but I doubt will happen, is Madison Bumgarner. That the Diamondbacks might shop him around, but he still has a hefty amount left on his contract, and he has like a 5-team no trade clause. So I don't know what 5 teams those would be. But, and I don't know, I mean, that he's the Madison Bumgarner that we knew, when he was with San Francisco.
Right.
Not the same guy.
No, he could be helpful, but yeah, I don't know. Is it worth it, in the long run? Noah Syndergaard, he's on a 1-year deal, could very well end up being traded off, if the Angels, right now it looks like the Angels will probably be sellers. So we'll get more into that once we get past the All-Star game, and we'll have a better idea of what's going on. We'll also talk draft next time we are together. And then once again, want to let you know, and you want to keep watching our Instagram. And where are we on Instagram?
We are on Instagram at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
And that's Facebook
too.
as well. Okay. And then Twitter is at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A. And online, we're at siblingrivalrybb.com. So watch our Instagram page, because your chance to win an SRBB t-shirt will be there. And one lucky grand prize winner is also going to get a $40 gift card from Game Day Chic, which has some great baseball t-shirts. And have you got gotten your pictures together so you can show them, model some of your game day chic t-shirts
Yes,
so that
I
so
lined
that
up
they
a
can see it?
photographer, and that will be happening. And you can see me model many of, because most of my wardrobe during the summer is all courtesy of either baseballism or game day chic. All baseball, all the time.
Right. And even in the winter, she just has a jacket on over top of her long sleeve.
Also,
shirt.
Fanatics is also another one, and you can go to our website at Sibling Rivalry BB. Click on the link for Fanatics. There's a Dodger link, an Angel link, and click on there. Get some of your favorite fan gear. The new All-Star uniforms are out. They look pretty sharp with the gold. You know, you're in Hollywood. It's got to be glitzy. And pick up that. And then you'll be not only helping your wardrobe, but helping out our podcast as well.
Exactly. So check all that out. We will be back with you next week to wrap up the first half of the season, talk about the Freeway Series, how the Dodgers did in St. Louis, how the Angels did. Could the Angels beat the Asterix at all when they came home? Who knows? All of that and more next week right here on the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. Thanks for stopping in, and don't forget to swing away.
You're